when the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois. Dubois? That's the first time that's ever happened.
Oh, I'm sure it's been said.
Probably has.
When I'm drowning on and on, my wife goes Dubois.
That's slightly better than Du Bois, though. Like, Jared.
I've told you that story.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. And I can't. You've told me your wife's maiden name. No chance I'm going to get that right.
No, I mean, why would you?
Chance.
All I can tell you is that, like I've told you before, it has two Z's. It has 1.3 letters in a row are ZDZ. That's all you need to know about that.
Yeah, that's there would need to be a.
And I'll tell you, there's
pronunciation
6 letters, only one vowel, and 3 of the consonants are ZDZ together. So like, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, that's that one. I don't.
Obviously Polish.
Way better to be Du Bois or Dubois if you want to get fancy with it.
Some people are way happier doing boys.
Well, I meant being in the family. Du Bois, but
yeah, middle school was rough.
Again,
when your name is phonetically Du Bois.
Whatever. We are here. It is Wednesday, not Thursday. I know you're all thrown off. You're like, what the heck's going on? Well, we did it when we could do it. Shout out to Jared.
Yeah, I'm gonna be busy tomorrow night. My fault.
It's all good. No, it's all good. We're here, and what I like about this, when you texted me and said, "Hey, let's do a show because I got some stuff," I was like, "All right, well, what can we talk about?" Because when it comes to the U.S. men's national team, not a ton has changed, but there are some things to get into. Yeah. But I realized, because I went to one of those websites that's like days until, or like counting the days.
A death counter. Or?
No, you just put in one date and then you put another date and tell you how many days are between those.
The unfortunate thing is, when you look at Jason's history, the first search result was happiness.
The first search I put
how
in
long
was
till I'm truly happy.
Oh, right, that's what I was looking for. I'm looking for happiness. I'm always searching. No, 50 days today until Copa America 2024. Does it feel like it's that close?
So what date is the kickoff date? June.
I have July 20th.
Oh, July.
Sorry, June 20th. My bad. June 20th.
That's nice. I'm going to be at my beach house for a good portion of that Copa, so I think that's going to work out well for me.
Well, there you go. You're going to be at a beach house. Who knows where?
I say my beach house, but I don't own it. It's just
probably in Puerto Rico, which might mean not attending any games. A little disappointed about that. We'll see how it goes. By the way, if you're going to Copa games, we'd love to hear about it. How much it cost you? What games you're going to? Because it's going to be a big deal. I think it's been an interesting situation where the build-up, it's not a World Cup, right? So we know that for the next 2 years after this summer, I mean, especially when we tick over into 2026, the amount of World Cup is coming stuff is going to be off the charts. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, for sure. What level of explanation do you anticipate having to do for the non-soccer informed about what the hell Copa America is?
I don't think it's going to make a dent. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not going to make a dent. Have they gotten Stephen A. Smith to talk about Copa yet? Because that's usually the way I know that it's crossed over.
That's the way I know that something's dead.
Yeah, that's how you know it's dead?
Oh, yeah, when Stephen A. Smith's talking about it, I want no part of it.
I at the end of the day, I don't know how to do a Stephen A. Smith, but that's what he says a lot. At the end
You're
of the
telling
day,
me.
Copa America is coming to the United States.
Copa what?
Of America. Yeah, right. Why is it? He's like, why is it called Copa America if it's never happened here before? Forgetting, of course, that it did happen here 8 years ago. By the way,
blame Americo
8 years ago.
Blame Americo Vespucci. Don't blame us.
Is that? Do you believe that that's the story? That's the correct.
You don't think that's where the word America came from? Americo Vespucci.
I have no idea. I've
heard
that
actually
story.
Landed on North America, not the Caribbean, like Columbus.
But Americo Vespucci did not actually travel to the Americas, is my understanding.
Did he not?
He never showed up. No, I don't think he ever came. I think he was just over there in Europe, in Italy, like charting stuff. And they're like, we're going to name it after that dude, Amerigo.
I'm going to have to go check that. Fact check that.
Okay.
Someone in the chat.
We are not a history podcast. We are a soccer podcast, which is why then we're not going to talk about America Vespucci anymore.
Connor says he's going to 3 Copa games this summer.
Nice.
And he's very stoked about it.
Nice.
I wish I could have that level of like excitement for it. I don't know. I don't know. For my dollars, knowing how much it's going to cost me to potentially get World Cup tickets,
Right.
I don't know that I can also
If you put
justify the cost of Copa America.
$100 in a high yield interest account right now, will you be able to afford any World Cup tickets in 2 years?
You're assuming that the American financial system is still going to be erect by 2026.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know what the interest rates are going to look like by then. We might not have any banks. We might be like Fallout. I just finished that season of Fallout.
Oh yeah, you like it?
It happened. It was okay.
You watched the whole season.
I did. I'm a completist that way, so I kind of had to. Like once I was into it, I mean, once I was like 3 or 4 episodes in, I'm like, well, I'm not going to quit now.
That's how my wife feels about relations with me. If we're gonna start it, might as well finish it.
When it comes to TV, I'm a sunk cost fallacy guy. When it comes to sexual relations, apparently your wife is a sunk cost fallacy woman.
She knows that marrying me comes with certain requirements, I guess, and she has to do them.
Yeah, look, do you think all right, look, I'm not saying I'm not excited. I am excited. I'm
excited about the U.S. stuff. I'm not going to watch outside of U.S. games. I really highly doubt I will watch a game that is not U.S. related or U.S.'s group.
I will probably watch every possible game I can.
I don't know. I have a hard time getting up for other teams that like Americans aren't playing for. I don't know. Like I really I don't watch any European soccer that Americans aren't in.
You just declared yourself like okay, never mind. That I got. I
just thought not interested. I'm
amosexual when it comes to soccer.
I know that Borussia Dortmund and PSG played, but I didn't watch it.
Oh, it was a great game. I'm sorry you missed that.
I have no vested interest in what's happening in that. I'm not gonna say the quality of soccer is not good or anything like that. Like, yeah, of course it is, but it's not appointment viewing for me if there's not an American playing.
I got you.
Am I in the minority on that? Do you think a lot of the people have the ability to?
Okay, that's interesting. Let's throw up a quick. We don't have a poll. I can't actually post a poll, but maybe if you want,
some people watch whatever game is going on. They'll watch any game if it's on. Like,
well, look, I don't want to turn this into one of those things where like, oh, you're not really a soccer fan if you don't watch this or that or the European Championship. Like, I don't want to do that because I think you are allowed to partake of whatever version of this game you want, and I'm absolutely fine with Americans being American soccer focused because how long have we been fighting that battle, Jared? It feels like it was you and me, like, you know, in loincloths with like staffs trying to fight off the hordes of people like, oh, European soccer is the best and American soccer sucks and why would anybody care? Like, I care about what happens in my country with my teams and identity stuff here. I'm happy about that.
Go ahead.
But soccer is great in general, and if I have time in the middle of the day, which I do and you don't, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. I was just getting to the point, too, that being on the West Coast, European football, I have to decide, am I going to wake up at 6, 5, 4 in the morning
you are time
and
zone
watch this game? Like, if I'm going to, it's going to be because there's someone I really have a vested interest in wanting to see succeed, and that's going to be an American player.
Well, I think we've discovered where the division is, right? And the division is a lot of, well, first of all, again, it's my job. I can't not pay attention, you know.
You probably need to exist outside this demographic or outside this study.
I mean, look, once upon a time, and I don't want to get into like my journey, you know, maybe when I write a book or some shit, but at one point in time, I was the American soccer guy. That was who I was, right? Mm-hmm. That was my identity. I'm one of the American soccer guys, not the American soccer guy. But that was like my thing. Like, I watched MLS. I care about the U.S. men's national team. Mm-hmm. The U.S. women's national team as well. I wasn't, as you so colorfully said, your words, not mine. I couldn't get it up for anybody else. I wasn't getting it up for anybody else. For years and years and years and years and years. I mean, since I knew what soccer was and it was available in any form or fashion on my television, and through a career that became about soccer and talking about it and writing about it, I didn't have a Premier League team I cared about. Not really.
And I should say, I don't disparage anyone else that does do these things. I'm just talking about me myself. You know,
Just call
like
them all Euro snobs and say you hate
no,
them.
because
Just
there was
do
a
it.
time in the '90s I watched every Manchester United
it.
game I could find. Every
that's
game,
right.
you know, like
That's
I
right.
grew up as a Manchester United fan, watching Fox Sports World and Fox Soccer Report, World Soccer Report, like all these things way back in the day. That that it was a big part of my life. But at some point, it transitioned to, man, I really care more about what Americans are doing. And I don't know what it is. Like I would say that I watched the final, the Argentina win in the World Cup, but I didn't watch the World Cup final game, the tournament before. What was it? Czechoslovakia, I'm sorry, Croatia versus France. Is that what that?
Yeah, France.
I didn't watch that game.
Beating Luca and company.
I'm pretty sure I didn't watch it. At least I don't recall watching it. It's
watched
hard
it,
for
for
me,
sure.
you know. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I have, if I get sucked into a storyline or something, like obviously Messi winning was a great storyline, and other times it's just honestly sometimes it's too hard. Like your team's out, like it hurts that your team's out,
that
and
can
you
be a
want to
thing.
step away from it. Like
That
it's
can
like,
be a thing.
man.
Yeah. Well, I do think the way that I tend to watch European football or soccer, as we might call it here in the United States.
So
of
you are the
America,
soccer guy, America. So
is as a neutral, which makes it easier to do what you're saying. Like I have more of a staying power with the tournament because I'm not necessarily like if it's a European championship, for example.
you're covering it either way, yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm not even covering it necessarily. It's like I don't want to watch it. I want to see what happens. Like this is what I live for now. I don't know. I mean, things change, life changes, and you're allowed to whatever. But okay, so Copa, you're not exactly burning with anticipation yet. 50 days out, which is
for
still
the
a long
US
time.
for the US game, sure. Yeah, for the US game, sure. But I just don't find really.
Okay,
don't think I'm care much outside of that.
Well, let me put this to the people then. So let
Brazil or Argentina is going to win. I know that already.
Nah, don't be that guy. Like,
Come on.
Don't rain on my parade before the.
You're right. Man City
before
might
it's
get
even
relegated
started.
next year.
Now, come on. First of all, even if you're probably right, leave it open for a second, okay?
Okay. The American dream. Here it comes.
No, it's not even that. It's not even that. Okay, I don't know. As much as I want us to be that country hosting a tournament like this, that's like, damn it, if we don't win, fire everybody. We're not doing good enough. We've got to figure. As much as I want us to be there, we're not there, right? We're not there until we actually get to the semifinal of. I know we did this 8 years ago. Got to a semifinal of this tournament. We can talk about that because that was obviously an interesting era for the U.S. men's national team. As much as we have to like prove it, right? We have to get to a final. Like if we get to a final of a meaningful tournament, not called the Confederations Cup, then I'll say, okay, fine. Maybe our bar has moved.
Yeah.
But we know, based on the fact that Argentina just won the World Cup a couple years ago, that Brazil is still Brazil, no matter their struggles.
Yeah.
They look at the talent. I mean,
they'll still have no Neymar for that, right? He'll still be hurt.
I know you didn't watch the game. Marquinhos, big moments today for PSG. Anyway, doesn't matter. I don't think anybody's like, well, if we don't win the tournament, it's a failure. So what does that mean for our excitement levels? Like, what does that mean for what we should expect?
I don't necessarily think those two things are equated for me. Like they're not connected for me. I can be excited for the US despite what I think their potential results are going to be, because it's an American game and it's going to be against decent level competition. It's going to be games that matter, not friendlies. Things that we can actually measure. Like you're not going to say like, oh, we were trying a new formation or we were trying something out. These are the games that count, and the games that count are easy to get up for. And also, let's not forget, these are the games at which Greg Berhalter will be judged, and that is something a lot of us are looking for, which is some kind of judgment day or a realization that this is working. This is the put up or shut up moment. And I think a lot of Americans, whether you want to be positive around Greg Berhalter or negative around Greg Berhalter, these are the games that are going to either make or break him for being the coach at 2026.
G2 Judgment Day. How's that flow? That flow? Okay.
Yeah,
2
all right.
G's in the end. I know he's got 3 G's in the name, but like 2 G. Second go round with Greg in a major tournament.
Oh, check this guy. Here we go. We got the Mark Fishkin up
Judgment
in here.
Day.
Gents, semifinal tickets at MetLife start at $285. What are we do? What is that, Twelman voice? What are we doing? What we're doing is getting ready for World Cup 2026 prices. That's what I was saying, though. How am I supposed to shell out for my family to go to Copa America and then in 2 years throw out a whole bunch of money again to go to the World Cup?
What are we doing?
Yeah, look, at this point, I think it's pretty clear that
And that's assuming it's in
soccer-
your city.
Right. You don't have to travel and get a hotel room and do all that stuff. And by the way, if you are wealthy enough to be footing that ticket price and single enough or free enough to go traveling around the country to follow Copa, you're blessed. Congratulations on your amazing life. I'm extremely jealous. Right?
Yeah,
Put it all on the credit card. It's basically free money. Says Connor. That's what I'm saying.
Tell my wife
Yeah,
that is not happening.
See, what you do is you put them on the credit card.
We
you get
just
the
pay
points.
taxes. I'm eating at home a lot.
Oh wow, okay. There you go. That's unusual for you, based on what I've heard in the past.
Yeah, I like these things.
It's clear that we've moved to a place of ticket prices are going to be astronomical. They're going to squeeze as much money as they can out of the market. There are going to be enough people to play those ticket prices that even if you have the money, if you are budget minded or at least like not crazy, you'll watch it at home. Right? This is another one of those things where it's like creating that layer between the actual live in-person game at some levels of the game and the average viewer, which I would put us in that group, right? So
but my families have to make a decision in 2026. Are we doing a family vacation or are we going to do the World Cup? That's a legitimate decision we're going to have to make.
I mean, I can only imagine that in the Du Bois, what was it again? How do you say it?
Winalda, it's pronounced.
Oh. I would only imagine that in your house with your kids and the ages that they are, that there will be pressure, right? That they're going to apply pressure or no?
I don't know. It could be just because by then maybe I think right now the kids would be like, oh, that'd be cool. I think they'd be fine with it, but I don't know if they're going to be in the same place I was like in '94, where it was like, wow, I really want to do this. I was like, I think I was 18, 17, 17.
It's that kids are just more detached and less enthusiastic.
It could be. I just also
things.
don't know if they're going to be soccer crazy. I don't know if my kids are going to be playing high school soccer like I was. My son wants to. I don't know if he will be.
So now you're facing the prospect of being the dad who drags his kids to this stuff because you want to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen, isn't that what family vacations usually are? I mean, no one seemed more happy for Wally World than Clark Griswold.
Yeah, that's a good point. He was always dragging. You want to be Clark Griswold? Is that what you're telling me? You'd like to?
Have you seen Christy Brinkley?
That's not.
Hey, it's worth it for those couple seconds she was in that pool.
I don't understand what's happening here.
And also for those shoes.
Dog, that's an approach.
Those shoes that cousin Eddie gave him. Those things are fire.
I'm just thinking about Mr. Thiago is going to be. He's going to be what? 5 years old. Sorry, he's going to be 5 years old. Like, is that an age when it's going to be like, Papa, I want to go? He's not even going to
remember, man. If you're going to go, I would go. It's taking him at that for this normal price, unless he can sit on your lap. And I don't think I think at 5 years old, that's
at 5 years old, no, it's not going to happen. No,
I just don't see. It's like taking your kid. What age do you take your kids to Europe? I mean, there's an age where it's just like, is it really worth it?
Yeah. I don't know. All right, so let me come back to the U.S. men's national team because again, we are 50 days away, 50 days away from Copa America 2024 in Los Estados Unidos. And I'm wondering, okay, let's go down the list of good and bad, right? We don't have to do this for every player, but in general ways, good and bad, pros and cons, yes and no's, whatever, binary situations for the U.S. men's national team, because then I want to get us to the big question of how we feel. And I will put our usual
DEFCON.
Whatever. What?
DEFCON?
Yeah, but I was trying to think of scale. The usual scale. That's what the usual scale. So right now, okay, let's start with the head coaching position. Individually, what's your confidence level right now on Greg Berhalter?
How am I measuring this? Like words, numbers?
I mean, do you want it to be? Do you want it to just use the DEFCON scale? We'll do it position. Let's do a position group, and we can drill down if necessary. Because I think that's a better way to look at this than individual stuff. Because we can get really in the weeds on.
Well, let's talk about coaching for a second, though. Like I would say that I have very little faith in Greg Berhalter's ability to manage a full 90 minutes. A full 90 minutes. I think oftentimes he gets the lineup right, but the tactics wrong, or he gets the substitutions at half right, but we played a whole first half and we're behind. Like I think it's pretty rare he puts a full 90 minutes of good decisions out there. So there's days where I think he adjusts well, but he started with bad plans, and I don't know. I in a World Cup format where he's going to have to play minimum 3 games and make some I think he over prepares if anything and gets in his own head. And I think in a tournament
Yep.
setting that has a high propensity to have consequences.
Okay. All right. So, you choose the scale. How many Du Bois are you going to give Greg Berhalter in terms of, I don't know.
I would say that I would get on a scale of 1 to 5. I would put my faith in the coaching position at around a 2.
Ooh, okay. Wow. All
5
right.
being good,
No, I understood. I understood that. I figured that.
I think oftentimes we succeed in spite of it, not because of it.
Okay. I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna give him a 3. I'm gonna give him a 3, but I don't. That doesn't mean I have confidence that it's gonna go.
So where were you after the Jamaica game,
perfect.
though? Like, does that how much winning the Nations League has maybe biased us in because it's recency?
I mean,
You remember that feeling though, right? 95th minute, what that felt like in that moment.
Yeah. I suppose.
97th. What was it?
Yeah, it was bad. You're right. It was bad.
I don't know. Maybe I feel it's more fresh for me and open of a wound.
I guess what you're kind of pointing to is, okay, how many times is he going to have to do that?
This
right?
one from SEO Spider in the chat. I still have PTSD from Van Gaal's post World Cup game in which he insulted Triple G's tactical acumen. But was he wrong?
Okay.
It shows the lack of respect that others have for him.
I don't think that is the way the world has. Okay. I don't want to go back. I don't want to relitigate the 2022 World Cup and all that nonsense. Right.
Okay.
I don't think that matters right now.
He's allowed to grow. It's been 2 years. He's allowed to grow, but I just don't see the growth.
Job, right? He's got the job, and he's at least not going to be leaving the job.
I don't see the path from where we.
I
don't see the path of results from 2019 or so when he took over to now 2024. I see that there's been some growth within the players. I don't see the program progressing at the rate that you would think of a 2-cycle coach that has a vision for where he wants to be in 2026. That's what makes me nervous.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I mean, again, I'm going to give him a 3 if only because I'm a little bit more hopeful than you, not because I think that he's a great coach and everything's going to be fantastic. Right. All right. So we'll move on from, I mean, obviously it's a big factor. Now the players play the game. Berhalter is the guy that sets them up. They've got to go out and play the game. In some cases, maybe he's holding them back. I think it's actually kind of wrong to simply say, oh, the coach is the problem without equally considering how the players are working within these.
If we're going to transition to players, let's start with this with NATO Sika in the chat. It says, overall feeling is that the team still lacks the creative players that can make a difference against the top 10 competition. I feel that's accurate, that the team lacks the creative players. Is creativity what's lacking?
Well, no, I think in the modern game, what is important is that you have multiple players on the pitch who can do things that can unsettle, unlock, get behind, do whatever it's necessary to score goals. I don't think it's, when you say, and I don't know that's Nate is saying like we need a number 10. I don't know that's what he's saying.
No, I think creativity could be interpreted a number of different ways.
Yeah, I think you could say Serginho Dest is a creative player,
sure.
But is that really the difference beating a top 10 team? Obviously, we know Giovanni Reina has those abilities, but I don't know. I think there's enough creative talent on the field in any given lineup. If you have Pulisic available, Reina available, obviously Dest is not going to be available for Copa, so we'll have to take him out.
But after that, doesn't it get really thin? Doesn't it?
It does.
From creativity. There's executors. There's guys who can execute.
Well, we've seen Tim Weah do things individually.
We have a striker that can make his own shot.
I think Balogun is capable, but I don't think he's set up to do it in this team, and I don't think he's got confidence right now, so I don't even know.
Our midfield does not have creativity unless Gio Reyna's in it. They have guys who can execute a game plan, the industry, move the ball. They have to do things, do a lot of good things really, really well. Creativity isn't one of them.
All the more reason what ends up happening with this team is things get shuttled out wide, but if we don't have the right combination of players in the box, arriving, doing various things, I mean, we're not even getting our players into positions where we have multiple bodies available for cutbacks at different levels.
Yeah.
to create opportunities if you're going to do things like get the ball wide, have players beat their defender on the dribble, and then cut
The funny
back.
thing is we say this, but then we have a midfielder in Weston McKennie was one of the top assist leaders in Serie A this season.
Right,
But we're not
well-
talking about him as a creative player, right? When he's at the U.S. national team
I
level.
think he's more creative than than we give him credit for, and I think he has proven to be capable of those moments for the national team. I remember the ball he played. He played a ball to the back post. Can't remember who it was.
I'm sure it was
To Weah. I think he set up Weah. Look, he.
Oh, you're talking about the U.S. Sorry, I thought you were
Yeah. I'm talking about with the U.S., not with Juventus. I don't know. I don't know that that's a crutch I want to fall back on. That there's not enough creative ability in this team, and that's why they.
I think you can make the argument.
Okay, sure, you can make the argument, but I don't think that that's the fundamental flaw
On the
in
list
this
of
team.
things that were potentially hold the U.S. back, is that the thing that's going to do it?
Man,
I've got a different thought of one of the things that's going to hold the U.S. back, and I think it's going to be depth. I think
Okay.
that depth is going to be an issue, and I know this is we will say this is one of the deepest teams that we've ever had, and stuff like that. But we are going to get exposed to right back because we don't have the depth of that position. I think that's a certain at this point that we're going to see a drop off in quality at the right back position with Sergiño Dest being out. I think there is a depth issue. We have plenty of center backs, but I don't think any of them are at the correct level to replace what Tim Ream was at the World Cup in 2022. I think there's a depth issue there. I think
Okay.
there's a depth issue at striker. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have guys that are performing, but at the national team level, have any of them actually performed well at the U.S. national team level? And I think they mostly do the same thing.
Well,
I think they basically do the same thing.
Hold on. They're not the same player. That's
Okay,
not
but
true.
if you have, let's say for example, you have Sargent, I don't know, Haji Wright, Florin Balogun. Let's say those are the three
they're
you
all
have
different.
there.
They're all different players.
But is
They're
any
all
one of
different
those
players.
okay? Are any one of those going to give you a severely different look? 30 minutes left in the game. If you're bringing them off the bench, it's going to change the game. They're going to be doing the same thing. None of those players are different enough. Whereas if you had a Brandon Vasquez, that's a
I don't think
different
that's
player.
fair. No, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. And this is I'm not trying to shine up a turd, but I think Josh Sargent is capable of playing in a way that Balogun and Haji Red are not comfortable playing. I'm not saying he's a world-class center forward with his back to goal, but I think he can do things as a bigger body that makes it more difficult for players at the end of games. I think that's a change that you can bring. I do think he's capable of doing things, right?
I think
I also think that it's hard because none of these guys have a long enough track record for us to really be able to judge them at all with the like. None of them have been installed as the guy. Like there was an era when Josie was the guy at 19.
Josh Sargent was going to be that guy.
He was, and he got hurt,
Yep.
and it arrested his momentum, and he got into the team again, and it never felt like. And I don't know if this is Greg's fault.
He took his
right?
chances leading up to the World Cup.
I don't know if it's Greg's fault because I'm not sure I would want Greg to just keep pumping in a guy who he decides is the guy if the performances aren't there. And obviously, again, with injuries and absences, you can't do anything about that anyway. But man, wouldn't it be nice to say, okay, here's our center forward, and we kind of did it with Balogun. It just hasn't clicked the way we wanted it to click, except for one or two moments, because again. Has the team evolved to a place where they can play with a forward like Balogun, who's going to get in CONCACAF knocked around? Now imagine him against CONMEBOL competition. Some of those center
there
backs.
is a difference though in that in CONMEBOL, we expect teams to want the ball more, to play more even keeled than what you're seeing in CONCACAF.
No, who
you don't think that
In the
Uruguay is going to try to
knockout
come
stage,
at us?
in the knockout stages? Sure, Uruguay does not care about the ball. They care about beating you up and scoring goals. And if they need the ball to do that, they will do that. And they are capable with the quality that they have to keep the ball from you a little bit. But I wouldn't be shocked if we win the possession battle against Uruguay in that game. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Me either, because I think we'll be down 1-0 early. So
No, I don't think that. But I don't think that's what it is.
But in terms of depth, which is the topic I was going with, I also think that we're currently going to be exposed at that wide forward role as well. Because if we saw, I mean, we just put it in the chat right here. Watching Weah shut down Leao in the Milan Juve match last week, it makes him a must as Dest replacement. You can make that argument, and that's the case. It gets thin real quick at the wide forward role.
Yeah, they're not a bunch of great options there.
I mean, you're talking about maybe moving Giorena out of the position he's been effective in that midfield role. Well,
Wouldn't do that.
you have MMA that's proven at the World Cup level that it is perfectly serviceable in the midfield.
Proven. Everybody hated the World Cup. What do you mean proven?
No,
Proven
no
in
one
what?
everybody hated the World Cup. You're crazy, dude. We did fine in that World Cup. I was happy with that World Cup.
Okay, but I mean, you're not you're not representative.
You think
of the
most people
larger
think we had
favorites.
a bad World Cup?
Yes, I think most people thought we had a bad World Cup.
We took
I
it
do.
to England for 90 minutes.
No,
You think we had
I
a
think-
bad World Cup?
I think people thought we may be okay against England, but we weren't good enough in any of the other games. That's the way that it seems to me.
Okay.
Seems that way to me.
I guess I'm detached from the American soccer populace. I feel different.
But again, a lot of that comes back on Greg, right? Did Greg do enough at the World Cup? No. Fire his ass. Oh, you gave him a new contract? Okay. Here we go.
So I remain on the board. I think depth is going to be one of the issues that gets exposed at the Copa America. That's one of my things I'm worried about. That's a negative. Positives, though, we want to talk about some positives as well.
I don't know. You got any? Sound pretty negative. Black Cloud Man over here. What's up?
Positives, I think this team has one of the best levels of trust in each other of any American team I can remember. These guys want to play for each other. I feel like they have good chemistry on and off the field. I think this vibes team that we talk about is a real thing. And I
Yeah.
think that can get you through a lot of tough situations when you really want to work for the guy that's next to you. And I feel like they do have that. So I think there is a vibes aspect of this team going into it that they're reaching their prime. This is a team that was young. They're going to be in that 24 to 26 range right now. They're hitting that prime. They're going to be 20 in that 26 to 28 range by the World Cup. This is where they start hitting their stride if they're going to do it.
Okay. I mean, you throw an if in there. Oh, you're positive, and then you throw an if in there. Like, I don't know.
It's unknown.
I don't know.
Everything you say about the World Cup, you talk definitively. I mean, the Copa America, you're going to talk definitively.
No. I'm
Okay.
just saying
You're the
you're
master
saying,
hedger.
Hold on. Okay. I'm going to throw this back at you. I can't. I'm not.
So one of the areas I feel positive about is the vibes aspect.
But then you say if they can whatever. But you just said we are going to get exposed with our depth. You didn't say we might get exposed. You said we didn't say if we get. You said
Yeah, but it
we are
doesn't mean that
going
we
to
can't get through it. Like we can still get through it, but you can be exposed. We're going to be exposed to right back. There's no way around it. There is a notch down from Serginho Dest to whoever else we're going to put in that position.
Okay.
Now, whether or
I'm
not we can
I'm
weather
not
that is
sure. That's true in certain ways. It's certainly true on the attacking end of the field. That there's absolutely no way we're replacing what Serginho Dest does on the attacking end of the field with anybody that's available right now. That doesn't mean that we might not be a little bit more comfortable defending that side of the field.
Sure.
And if that means Jedi Robinson can be Jedi Robinson up the field,
What does that mean? Run
I'm
back
not-
and forth real quick.
okay. I mean, if you use the width well and get him wide,
What
he is
with
dangerous.
Pulisic's in that spot?
Pulisic can drift inside. They've worked that before. What I'm saying is you plan for that.
I
We're gonna
personally
get
think
Jedi
that
up
our
the
right
field.
side is far more dangerous than our left side. When Weah
But
and
it doesn't
Dest are in
have
there.
to be. But it doesn't have to be. And by the way, there's also I'm not saying that this is ideal. And obviously, even if you swap Pulisic, you still have a hole. But Pulisic is playing on the right at Milan. Why not play him on the right with the United States and then figure something out on the left and allow Jedi Robinson to be your width on that side of the field?
That's
But
fair.
Pulisic is also more just as likely to drift inside. Play combinations, drive into the box, and again, if you get Jedi as an option on the overlap over his shoulder, then you have danger in that area as well. I'm not saying it's ideal, and I'm not saying this suddenly means the United States is going to win the Copa America. I'm simply saying it's not the end of the world. Is all.
You want to hear something crazy? What I was just thinking in my head.
What? You thinking something?
Given the strikers that we have at our disposal, the people
Yeah.
we just named a little bit ago,
Yeah.
the problem we have at right back, are we forcing a 4-3-3?
Oh,
When
you want
you
to
have-
open up this can of worms? You want to go to the
Let's
the
have just an
formation
open
situation.
conversation for real quick, okay? You've got a ton of nines, 3-4 number nines that play
You
very
just want to play
similar.
4-4-2. You want to go back?
Do
Go back
you
in time?
do you put a Weston McKinney at right back, put a Tim Weah at the right wing, put Pulisic at the left wing,
I think
run
you- I think-
run two classic midfielders in the middle, and just let your strikers do what they do well, which is play
I
two
think-
of them up in there.
I think that's a recipe for disaster. I think you get outnumbered in midfield pretty fast and things get bad. I think that I mean that's That's just my thought. I just don't know where is Pulisic playing in this 4-4-2. I mean,
Because
defensively,
I think is if you do put Way at right back, let's say that's the move. We get into camp. Greg says that's the best candidate we have there.
okay.
What is the serviceable right forward in a 4-3-3 formation that allows you to still be productive? Brendan Aronson?
No, probably not.
Isn't it better to have Haji right and Florin Balogun, Haji up top, Balogun just underneath, and playing more of a two-striker setup? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, the Dest loss really makes you think about how this team works.
I don't want to get wrapped up in formations when you're going to play a 4-man back line. You need width and danger from your fullbacks, right? Again, against the ball, you can do whatever you want. You can play 4-1-4-1. You can play 4-4-2. I don't think it's a good idea.
I hate talking formations usually myself as well. Then is it better to run 3-5-2 and Weah and Ream as wingbacks? I'm sorry, Robinson.
Robinson. Okay, you're playing 3 center backs. Who are the 3 center backs you trust?
I mean, if you put Ream in the middle, so he wouldn't be exposed for speed, that he can champion that middle portion. And if you have Chris Richards and Miles Robinson, I'd be okay with that.
It's just they get caught upfield or they get caught wide.
They're not going to get cut upfield. They're not going to get cut upfield. The wingbacks might get cut upfield. That's the whole point of a 3-5-2. They don't get cut upfield.
If they step out, it's instinct wise.
With Tyler Adams to cover, I think it's something that
if you have Tyler Adams. So
Greg Berhalter has to put a lot of stuff on the table with Sergiño Dest out that he probably wouldn't have put on the table before Copa America.
That's fine. I don't know that formation changes on the table, but I'm not against the idea. I'm not saying it doesn't make some sense to consider these things. I just don't know about the personnel. Again, you're trying to make an argument the personnel fits this better, but I'm not sure that that's necessarily the case.
Okay.
I'm not sure that's necessarily the case. But okay. So I'm going to come back to something negative. You mentioned a couple, positive thing was the way they play together. The negative thing is that Dest is out for sure, and we are a little dicey on what's going on with Tyler, who came back from hamstring surgery and looked awesome, and now has back issues because the man.
Yeah, and it's not the first time he's had back issues. This is going back to I can't remember if it was Salzburg or
Leipzig. He played at Leipzig. He never played.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Leipzig. I say it must have been Leipzig. I'm thinking. I apologize. I'm getting Brendan Aronson confused. When he was at Leipzig, he had fairly decent back issues for a while. Then he seemed to put together about a good year and a half without them. But so it's kind of worrisome that it's back now, especially after being rested for so long. Maybe he's overdoing it. I don't know.
And look, I want Tyler in the team if he's at all healthy. Of course, I want him in the team. But you're talking about how we have issues wide. And, yeah, we have issues wide forward if we play a 4-3-3. Even if we play a 4-4-2, I'm not sure I have a lot of ideas on the wingers in that. Tim Weah and Christian Pulisic are the only obvious choices there, I think. Like, where are you getting Reyna into the team in a 4-4-2?
Top of a diamond.
Playing at top of a diamond. And
I'm just answering the question. There's a possibility,
Yeah, no, sure. But if you're not pushing those fullbacks,
a lot of work on the defensive.
And now it is effectively a, it's a 2-5. It's a, it's a 2-5-3 or something like that. Anyway,
here's the thing. Tyler Adams probably injured his back by putting the entire U.S. team on it.
Sure,
in the first half of the Mexico game.
I should give you a rim shot, but I don't have one. So there you go. All right. The issue is what I was going to bring it back to is that we do have a lot of players. I'm not saying that the level is the same as Tyler, but we have a lot of players in that area of the field, don't we? I mean, Eunice is there. Is he a starter right now? That's an obvious question if Tyler is healthy. You've got Johnny Cardoso, who's impressing people in Spain.
Yep.
Luca.
Yep. And you even have Leonard Maloney as well, that should be mentioned in that role as well. If on the defensive side, I would be fairly happy if Tyler Adams couldn't go. If Johnny Cardoso and Luke and Maroney were the options, I think that is a decent 1-2 combination off the bench.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, again, we'll see how this.
I mean, I don't think even for Tyler Adams in terms of a number of different things. Maybe Johnny Cardoso on the field could be better than Adams, but you're not going to get that captain's mentality that you get with Tyler Adams. No. You saw what he commands of his teammates on the field.
All right,
you saw the way he steps up.
again, 50 days till the Copa America. We still got some time. We'll see what happens with Tyler's back. There's things that could happen towards the end of the European season. We're knocking on wood. We don't want anything bad to happen. Hopefully everybody comes out of the season confident and then a little bit of rest, and then we go into this. But the bottom line here, and what we do on the Best Soccer Show, is we put a DEFCON on it. So DEFCON 5, the world is at peace. There is no real reason for concern. Everybody's fine. DEFCON 1, there are nukes in the air. Everybody's going up in flames. The world is ending. Where are you at, Mr. Dubois?
I think if Dest and Adams were available, I would be at a neutral 3. But with them both gone, I would put this at a 2 area. I'm not that positive going into it.
2. I mean, you're at a 2 in terms of confidence level for Greg Berhalter.
I will see. We've got a couple of friendlies before the cup starts. Maybe it will feel different once we see what. Because the other part of it is that I have to. Part of that too is how does Greg Berhalter adjust to those potential emissions, and that's where there's a lot of trust I don't have.
Okay, yeah. Nate says DEFCON, we make it out of the group and lose to Brazil. You got to put a number on it, Nate. This is how it works.
If that's what happens, that's a 3 or 4. That's a decent result.
You're fine with that? Get out of the group and lose to Brazil in the
the majority of teams in the world would do that. Like decent teams.
All right. Again, I mean, I hate to go right back to where I was with Greg and apply it here to my overall DEFCON. I think maybe I'm buoyed more by the Spirit thing. Maybe I imagine that we're going to get something notable. Like, obviously, part of this is how it plays out after the group stage, right? At the very least, get out of the group, but you don't know what that's going to look like when you get out. You can guess, and we might have a pretty good idea based on the way that the groups are set up. I kind of want to win I want the Uruguay game to be a victory that launches them, and that's kind of how I'm going to view this. Now, I think they can beat Uruguay. I don't know if they will.
Game not to matter.
I know, no, that's the ideal, right? That's really what you want. But for the growth of this team towards a World Cup in 2 years, kind of want it to matter at least in some way. Maybe not to get out of the group, but maybe to win the group, right? And you're like, oh, we want to win the group. That's important to us. We're going to avoid a tougher draw on the other side, a tougher matchup in the knockout stage, right? All right. So I'm going.
Take us to DEFCON 3.
Boring. I'm going 3. Now, look, you still get a dramatic stinger.
I think you live on 3. I think every time we ask you for DEFCON, it's 3.
That's not true. I've been at 1. You've been at 1
with
this team. Yeah, I've been at 1. I don't remember when.
On the record,
but I've been at 1.
Someone search the archives. I want to know the date and timestamp of when Jason was at 1.
Besties, please listen back to every single episode in the history of the Best Soccer Show, which goes back how long? How long?
12 years?
2011?
2011.
Go back and listen to every. I mean, we did take a hiatus in the middle.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to every episode. See if I've ever said DEFCON 1.
At DEFCON 1.
DEFCON 1?
I like the guy who goes, DEFCON 1. Like, why has he got to repeat?
He's got to repeat it. Are you sure you said 1?
I want to be that guy. I want to be the
Global
DEFCON
thermonuclear war?
Global thermonuclear war. Don't you want to play some chess? Don't you want to play?
How long before they remake war games?
What they should, but how do you update it for the technology? Like, how do you do that?
Hackers, still getting into stuff like.
Yeah, but then it just becomes one of those bad hacker movies from the 90s that we all forgot about.
Well, there has to be an AI involved, just like Joshua. AI is all the rage.
God. That's true. We could turn Joshua into an AI.
Mm-hmm.
But then one guy's not responsible for writing that AI. Like, isn't that Terminator 2 also? We get Skynet, we get the whole thing. It's the same
machines,
story.
Though.
The machines. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what Joshua would have ended up with. Yeah, his machines.
Throw us your DEFCON. I want to know what your DEFCON is, besties. Hit us up in the comments.
Well, I forgot to look at the comments last week, see if anyone had good suggestions for sexual positions in soccer.
Oh,
terms.
I think Phil and Mike threw one out there.
Oh, did he?
Somebody.
Oh, he said something about the double post off double. I can't remember.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Phil and Mike, but somebody said late substitute, game substitute, which is pretty good.
What, you call in a sub? Like, oh, okay.
I mean, use your imagination. Maybe you're out there swinging it out a little bit. Maybe you put keys in a bowl like Jared and his.
What about performance
Ontario,
enhancers
California.
like Cialis?
Oh, that's well. There's also a performance enhancer that requires. Never mind.
I'm not sure what you're using. I'm au natural over here, baby.
No. I'm au natural as well. I'm just saying, like, before Cialis, before pills, the way that you forced things to
Was it-
remain at attention involved you purchased an
What do you
item.
tape a pencil to it? What? Like, what do you do?
All right, never mind. That's
Okay.
enough.
Oh, like
that's enough.
baseball, the thing about like that kind of thing.
Yes,
Oh, you're talking about
yes.
delaying. Okay, I got
Yes.
you.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like that's not practice. That's in. Never mind. Okay. The other thing we wanted to get to tonight on this show is an idea Jared threw at me, which I think is very funny, and that is MLS teams as monopoly spaces.
Yeah, I was
haven't-
thinking like
haven't
when you
played
think of
in
the
a
game
while.
Monopoly, there's it leaves a lot of interpretation because you have like different values of properties, prestige. You know, like what's a high rent, what's low rent,
Everybody knows about Park Place and what's the other one?
boardwalk. Everybody knows what you.
Boardwalk. Well, I mean, everybody knows that those are the best properties. I couldn't remember Boardwalk. It's why you're here to help me out, buddy. It's
Yeah.
just, come on.
So what I did, and I thought it'd be important to have a baseline on this. So what I did, because listen, we're all about science here on the Best Soccer Show, right?
Are we? We are about science. Sure. Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
fear science. So what I did is I thought, what does AI think?
Science is real. I'm just putting that.
So
on the record.
I
Okay.
asked AI. I said, imagine
Uh-huh.
you're a board game developer, and you want to
Okay.
make an MLS themed Monopoly game. Give
Uh-huh.
me a list of teams as properties on Monopoly boards.
Oh man,
and
this
give me
is great.
And give me
So-
the reason why you did that.
How is there not an MLS version of Monopoly? Because MLS is basically a giant real estate play anyway. That's just what Monopoly
Oh, I already thought
is.
about a couple of things, like the game that Chance would be pro referee, like that. You change that to pro because you never know where it's going to be. You're taking your chances with it. Community chest would be like TAM or GAM or something like that.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
And then I
Okay.
thought about like the what do you call the things you move, or the tokens you move around?
Yeah,
You know, like
Yeah.
there'd be a boot. That's a little
yeah,
bit.
sure. There could be a boot. Yeah, boot and a ball. Yeah,
Yeah. So there's a few
little
different
MLS Cup trophy. Go to jail. Is that like when you
disco
get,
committee.
Oh, disco. That's actually okay. A disco committee is a way to go. I was thinking like you enter Miami, you get fined and lose TAM because you violated the budget rules.
Yeah.
I suppose that could be a thing.
So anyway,
Okay.
here's what AI thought for the different properties around the Monopoly board.
Do we know which
okay?
AI this is, or just generic?
This is
AI?
ChatGPT. I use
Oh,
ChatGPT. And here's the thing: there are teams that did not make this. Like there are teams that it did not allocate.
Well, there's
So-
look, there are way too many MLS teams and not enough spaces in a game of Monopoly. I'm sorry.
You're going to be
RSL.
surprised by a couple of the ones that omitted, though.
Oh,
like
okay.
it's
Not
a little bit
RSL.
interesting. So, so number one, it went with it listed in the highest order.
Is
the
that how we
highest
should do
value
it,
too.
or should we build up to this?
Oh, okay, we could build up.
No. I don't know. It's a lot. There's 25 teams and 25 spaces, so it might take us a while to get there.
Let's go from
First
the
of all,
top.
What are the worst? What are the worst spots on the board? Like
The
what are
worst spots on the board are those first ones, and you're going to have to forgive me for colors. I think they're purple, which is Virginia, States, and state. Oh, sorry, no.
No.
I thought Baltic and Mediterranean.
Yeah, but those are not purple. That's brown, my guy.
Oh, they're brown.
I think
Those
it's
first
brown.
ones are brown.
I think they're brown. Somebody help me out. I think Virginia Avenue, States Avenue, and St. Charles are all purple. I think
No, those are the light blue.
No, that's Connecticut, Vermont, and Oregon. Did they change the colors since I last played? It's possible.
Virginia State. Oh, no, you're right. Virginia States and St. Charles, I think. I don't know. Anyway, the lowest quality ones are Mediterranean, Baltic. So coming in at the lowest valued. Now, this is going to tell you a lot about ChatGPT and what it knows about MLSs too as we go through this, okay? Because there's some really interesting choices they made here.
Well, ChatGPT got they don't have it's not completely up to date on its knowledge, right? There's like a cutoff.
Yeah,
date.
so there's a cutoff, but it's weird. It does know newer teams than the ones it left out. It left out some teams that are not new.
Right, that have been around for a while. Okay, go ahead.
So number 25 on this list is going to be Mediterranean Avenue, and it shows Austin FC. And it says the reasoning, Austin FC, as the fresh faces of MLS, bring a touch of Texan flair and ambition to the league. Mediterranean Avenue, as the starting point in Monopoly, symbolizes Austin FC's debut and potential journey in MLS.
Oh,
What a
okay.
reach.
Chat GPT is talking shit. That's some nonsense. That's some marketer's nonsense.
I
right
did tell it
there.
to give me reasoning. I told it to
That's
give me
bullshit
reasoning.
reasoning. Like, that's terrible. It's like when they create a logo and they're like, this slash represents our commitment to bringing together the communities of the city, and this line is the river from which we draw our life's water. Like, what? Shut up.
I like this
Shut
from
up
Lefty.
already.
He says luxury tax is like when Miami got in trouble for having 4 DPs.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But I'd go to jail. But you can put luxury tax in there instead. That's a good one. That's actually a good one. Okay. All right. So
All right.
Austin is a cheap property.
That's recording this. It's the starting
All
point
right.
of the game.
I'm about to reject this whole ChatGPT experiment. We're gonna.
Oh,
have
you're
do
about to
our
after this next one. I'll tell you right
Okay,
now.
all right.
Next
Okay,
one,
go ahead.
Baltic Avenue, the other cheap one, and
Yes.
its choice for this was Inter Miami as the second cheapest property on the board, and it says the reasoning: Inter Miami CF, with their flashy brand and David Beckham star power, are the new kids on the block. Baltic Avenue, though not the most glamorous, represents Inter Miami CF's humble beginnings and potential for growth.
Okay, here's where I'm
There
throwing
ain't
this
nothing
out.
humble about Inter Miami.
Here's where I'm throwing this out.
I don't
First
think it
of all,
knows
this-
Messi's on it.
It doesn't know Messi is there.
Yeah.
That's a number one problem. Number two, this nonsense AI is putting way too much value on being first. When those are the cheapest,
Yeah.
crappiest properties, nobody really wants them. Come
Yeah,
on.
especially
That's
when
terrible.
everyone knows that Colorado Rapids or New England Revolution are truly in those spots.
At this point, I mean, yeah, I think you're probably right. Okay, here's what I've got. All right, let's
Okay.
look at this. So we start the game, right, and it is Mediterranean and Baltic, and as you said, Rapids,
What color are they?
they're brown in what I'm looking
they?
at here.
Really?
Told you they're brown in what I'm looking
okay.
at here. I guess
All right.
maybe
I was
there are
going off
versions of the
memory.
game where they're different colors
All right.
because there are
Okay.
many versions of Monopoly, Jared. There's probably a Ontario, California version of Monopoly.
Stop
probably
putting me
exists.
on blast, dude.
I'm sorry, Inland Empire version of Monopoly, where you're like Rancho Cucamonga. I don't know what's in the Inland Empire. I have no idea.
That's one of them.
All right. So there are a couple of different contenders for this. Now, I think not having your own stadium is certainly a mark against you. And I think for the Revs, like you said, that might be, and obviously this season where they are right now in the standings, kind of lines up. Colorado fits. They have their own stadium, but nobody cares about them. Their owners don't care about them.
Yeah.
So does that mean the Quakes get left to maybe move into the next, the light blue, the
I think they
Oriental
get
Avenue,
moved up
whatever
in
they
my
call that?
personal one because they do have championships. They have their own stadium.
That's true. They do have okay. I'm being told dark purple for the first one.
That's what I thought too.
Okay. Again, I don't know. I'm looking at the original, I guess.
Okay.
All right. So
All right.
What else are we doing here? What
Okay.
else are-
Next one on the list going up is Virginia Avenue, and this is
Okay.
going to be Nashville SC. And its reasoning for Nashville is with their country charm and growing fan base are the dark horses of MLS. Virginia Avenue, though not in the spotlight, represents Music City's potential and allure in the league.
Stop reading these. They're making me
No,
mad.
I'm not stopping. I
Stop it.
love the
They're
way
terrible.
it describes these teams because it makes you
Stop
wonder
it.
where did it grab this information? Like,
From
where
the,
did it
from
grab?
the websites of the teams or some marketing nonce.
Do you think
I don't know
they've
that word
referred to
is.
themselves as the dark horses of MLS?
Probably somewhere. Yeah, like they put out a Johnny Cash jersey, which is all black. That's probably why they think of themselves as the dark horses.
All right, next
mean-
up, States Avenue, also in this same run right here. States Avenue, shout out to Nikki Soup and Salad, FC Cincinnati. And it says the reasoning, FC Cincinnati with their passionate fan base and underdog spirit are the rising stars of MLS. States Avenue, though not the most prestigious, represents FC Cincinnati's potential and ambition to climb the league ladder. There's a lot of that.
I think I'm starting to like Cincinnati.
You know why they're so bottom? Because that stupid fucking chili they got.
Whoa, that seems very aggressive. Wow, Jared, that was
You can't be a high class property with that.
earmuffs.
defined as
Everybody
food.
out there listening to this,
bad.
earmuffs. Last week
My
was
bad.
earmuffs for a different reason. This week is just 4
I just killed you using this as a YouTube short. I'm sorry.
Well, I can bleep you out. There's that. No, come on. All of this is like building. building up. So we started with the worst properties, and
Mhm.
ChatGPT is still blowing smoke up these teams instead
Yeah.
of like, this is a terrible team, and Mediterranean Avenue is one
Yeah,
of the worst
I
properties
really
on the board.
trust me. I tried to make it do that. I said, give me like comically cynical theories about
So-
the bottom team, and it wouldn't do it.
ChatGPT is just a liar. Like
It
they're
wants
just
to
one
be
of those people
positive.
you can't
It
trust
wants to
anything.
be part of the solutions, not the problems in the world.
But we don't need an AI that's going to lie to our faces and sell us on a bunch of nonsense and garbage when we know the truth. We know the
Next
truth.
up, DC
No.
United.
No.
St. Charles Place is DC United. St. Charles Place. DC
Okay.
United, with their storied history and tradition, are the kings of MLS nostalgia. St. Charles Place, though not as trendy, symbolizes the timeless allure and resilience of the black and red.
No, whatever. I'm over this now. They're all it's not.
Houston Dynamo, Connecticut Avenue. Reasoning: the Houston Dynamo, with their Texas grit and passionate supporters, are a force to be reckoned with in MLS. Connecticut Avenue, although not the glitziest, represents the Dynamo's solid foundation and potential.
All right.
I'm gonna jump
I
to
mean-
the top.
Yeah, I'm okay. Let's move on.
Well, people want to know where their team went, though, so I'm just going to go real quick. I won't read all the reasonings. Next one, Columbus Crew, Vermont Avenue. I believe that's one of the light blue ones. Columbus
You
Crew
gotta
coming
stop
in
with
at
the
Vermont
colors.
Avenue.
Like you have trouble. No, you're right.
I was just corrected. I was just told I was right in the chat that it was dark purple in those first ones.
There again. I think
I'm talking classic, baby.
I'm looking at classic. It's brown,
I think
light
you're
blue,
colorblind too.
purple, orange, red, yellow,
we
green,
establish that
and
you're colorblind as
blue.
well?
Go ahead.
All right, where to leave it? Columbus Crew, Vermont Avenue. Vancouver Whitecaps as Oriental Avenue.
What's one of the
Vancouver,
light blue ones? We're going backwards. Okay. got
well,
it.
just the order I put it in. Vancouver Whitecaps FC, with their picturesque stadium and Canadian charm, add a unique flavor to MLS. Oriental Avenue, though not in the limelight, represents Whitecaps' potential and allure. They've used that a couple of times. Minnesota United as
Allure.
Connecticut Avenue, or
Seems
San
to have
Jose
allure.
Earthquakes as Pacific Avenue. Let's see. Real Salt Lake makes the list as Marvin Gardens. Real Salt Lake, with their majestic stadium nestled in the mountains, bring a touch of majesty to MLS. While not the flashiest, Marvin Gardens represents the solid, dependable presence of RSL in the league. No,
What the hell? I mean, this thing about like not the flashiest. That seems like a repeat. Have we seen that, like,
they're
multiple
using the
times?
same. They're using the same kind of like.
I'm
thing
going
where
to
they
say
do it.
something here. All right, just so we can get this out of the way. Outside of Inter Miami, because they have Lionel Messi, and I guess we could throw like a little bit of flash on the LA teams, although probably more LAFC than the Galaxy at this point in history. Ain't no flashy teams in MLS. We're not doing flashy over here, okay? It's not how we
A
do.
little bit. Okay, top of the list, Boardwalk.
All right.
Who do you think Boardwalk's going to be? You saw the list.
I saw the list. You sent me the list. You
I
want me to
did
read the
send you the
list? Okay.
No, top of the list. What
Yeah.
would be the teams you would consider for Boardwalk, though? If you were just like going in blind.
I mean, I guess I would think about history being a part of this. Like, you have to be historically good. You can't just be like good last year. So that leaves a couple teams. Seattle would definitely make the list of consideration, right? Have to, just based on
I think you're talking about Seattle's, LA,
Yeah.
Galaxy, LAFC, and I would say Miami. If ChatGPT knew Messi was there,
Does
I think those are your
ChatGPT know
premier
that
four.
LAFC exists? That's a question I have.
So that's interesting you asked that, because LAFC did not make this list when it got made. And here's the thing, because when I see one of the other clubs that was left off as well, it
Yeah.
also left off New York Red Bulls, but New York City FC is in. So I think it only when there's two teams in the same city, I think it only chose one of the two. So sorry, LAFC fans. I did.
By the way,
LA Galaxy's
Jason
more known,
wants
I guess.
to know. You didn't mention. They all sound the same in the description, so I don't know if you read this one. But he says the champs need to be here. Columbus is
Who won
Vermont
last year?
Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
Vermont Avenue, and it says something. While not the flashiest,
Yeah, you ain't flashy. Sounders
I
FC
mean-
comes in the top spot with Boardwalk, and the reasoning is the Seattle Sounders FC is the crown jewel of Major League Soccer. Much like Boardwalk, it is the most coveted property in Monopoly, with a massive fan base, consistent success in the field, and iconic stadium atmosphere. The Sounders command the highest property value in our MLS themed Monopoly game. That's actually a pretty good write-up. I think that's pretty legit reasoning for why you would choose them. Everything they just said there is true.
I'm they're at the top end of this. It's not terrible, although here let me read you something that tells you exactly where ChatGPT is coming from in terms of
Okay.
historical understanding. Toronto FC is Pacific Avenue.
Mhm.
Toronto FC, with their recent dominance in MLS and passionate Canadian support, is like a Pacific paradise. Where does it think Toronto is?
Well, Pacific is the property it gave it.
No,
I
I
don't
know,
know.
but it says a Pacific paradise.
Uh-huh.
While they may face some cold
Oh, I didn't even check. I didn't catch that the
Oh,
first
man.
time. Canadian, cold, Toronto.
While they may face some cold spells, their prime location and strong performances make them a valuable property. ChatGPT is an idiot.
For the record, can I go on saying that if you wanted to be funny, Boardwalk should have been New York Red Bulls.
Because they're in Jersey?
Jersey Shore, yeah,
Jersey?
Jersey, that
Sure.
Boardwalk, yeah, that's what it should have been.
Sure. Yeah.
Park Place. Park Place came in as LA Galaxy. The LA Galaxy, with their star-studded roster and glamorous Los Angeles location, are the epitome of MLS luxury, akin to the prestigious Park Place and Monopoly. While some may argue they're living off past glories, their Hollywood allure keeps them atop of the MLS property ladder. That's legit too.
You just like it because it's your team.
It just talks about living off past glories. That's not something I'm fond of, but it's true.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
And I should make also just real quick for the other most expensive properties, those green properties. Pennsylvania Avenue came in Atlanta United. Atlanta United FC, reigning over the vibrant soccer scene in the South, is a powerhouse of talent and passion. Pennsylvania Avenue is the perfect counterpart, represents Atlanta's rise to prominence in MLS and its valuable real estate. That's good because their stadium's magnificent, Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, hard break, LAFC. At least you can have BO Railroad.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. MLS team says monopoly properties. If you have any beef with anything that ChatGPT chose or that we said, let us know in the comments. Let us know directly to our faces somehow. I don't know how they could do that. How can they do that?
I don't know. I mean, take it up with ChatGPT. I didn't write it.
Patreon. That too. Patreon.com. / the best soccer show. I can't say anything anymore. This is throwing me off so much. Patreon.com / the best soccer show. Join the community where you can talk about this in the bestie Slack. You also get access to the bonus shows.
Can you imagine Don Garber with a monocle and top hat and cane on the front of the cover of the box?
Can somebody put that together, please? Can we get Can we get a Don Garber as the Monopoly guy?
Money just falling out of his pockets. Isn't that what happens to the Monopoly
guy? Does he have a name? Is he like
Uncle Moneybags? I can't remember.
It is.
It is like Pennyworth something or something.
Pennyworth. Is it Pennyworth?
I don't know. It's something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Who's better? I don't think he has a monocle. Does he have a monocle?
I don't remember. Him and Mr. Peanut, I get messed up.
That's what I was going to say. I think Mr. Peanut has a monocle, and I don't think Mr. Monopoly has a monocle, and I think you're mixing them up. And that seems
you're right. Urias or Urias? Urias Tosh. Best Soccer Show has taught me over time that ChatGPT is racist and stupid. We did establish that in the past with the racist part for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Don't trust ChatGPT. There's better AIs out there, I'm told. Like, I don't know. What other AIs are out there?
Terminator?
Skynet is not a better AI. But we have reached Skynet. I haven't mentioned in a long time, but we basically have reached Skynet, right? That it's happening. It's going to happen
for sure. There's no way to stop it.
We're worried about wars.
You see the stuff Boston Dynamics is doing?
No, do I want to know? Is it another robot dog?
Robots, dude. Robot dogs, robot people. They can do the Macarena.
No, I've seen one of the.
If they can do the Macarena, they can kill you.
I think that's truth. I think that's truth. Go join the Besties community at the Patreon.
Where you can get the bonus show we're about to record.
Yeah, and actually, if you are a Patreon member, you can participate in the live bonus show because that link goes up in the Besties community for people to join in. You can watch the Columbus Crew try to beat Monterrey in the CONCACAF Champions Cup while you also watch us talk about, I don't know, probably television or something.
So if you're one of the 112 people watching live right now and you're on the Patreon, go on there right now. Jason will be putting a link up shortly to come join us on the bonus show.
Yeah. Patreon.com / the best soccer show. And I'll post the link there and in the Slack. And that's it, Mr. Dubois. Any other business?
That's it, baby.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye. Oh, I'm going to put that back up. I'll put it back.
Michael freaking Orozco Pascal.
Get to the chopper!
Go to DEFCON 2.
Is that JTT?
OMFBG13, it's JTT!
Who?
What are we doing?
Can I get a manager? Can I please get a manager?
It was there. Oh, here we go, saucing them up. Hit him. What?
WNBC. WNBC. Oh, it's incredible!
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
Get to the chopper! Jay Rodius.